Alrighty, guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Ethan, Ethan Silvestri. This is actually the first video I'm throwing up on the YouTube channel here. Um, it's kind of fascinating, man. I have been wanting to start a YouTube channel for a while now. I have learned so much. I see a bunch of people who are definitely, great traders. I've learned a bunch from a bunch of different people. So you got to pay homage. But I always just found it fascinating, and I figured why not kind of give it a try and see what type of feedback I get. I do want to let you guys know I am not kind of my background. I am in no way, at least yet, a professional trader. I am not giving any financial advice. I'm not, telling you what to do with your money. It's your hard-earned money. Make sure that any trades you guys take, while you're getting into them, these videos are just going to be, strictly for education purposes only. So yeah, so the reason I started this channel, guys, is I really just I just want to document my journey. And I find that when I talk out loud, and kind of go over plays and what I'm looking at, it actually helps me. So I figured it would probably, help you guys out as well. So I mean, this YouTube channel is really just to kind of document my journey as a trader, and I would love for you guys to come with me. So with all of that said, again, welcome to the channel, and I say we go ahead and get right into it. So today I'm going to be talking about order blocks, order block entries, and kind of just my style of trading. Yeah, everybody has their own way of doing it, but this is my interpretation of trading with order block entries, trading institutionally. And I figured, like I said, I would just kind of share my view, and kind of how I view the markets with you guys, just to see if you guys could relate. And like I said, if you don't, cool. It's just for my journey, right? So I can kind of go back and look at this, see what I did wrong, see what I did right. And as a trader, I think that's one of the most important things, is seeing what you've done good, what you've done bad. So these videos help me just as much, as hopefully, as much as they would help you, right? So all right, so I say again, let's just hop right into it. I know I've been rambling. We're going to be taking a look at, honestly, a few different charts. This video might be a little bit on the longer side, but I think it's going to be packed full of value. And again, it's kind of just helping me out and what I'm looking for. So I've got it recorded. I could come back and look at it. So with all that being said, let's actually go ahead and go to the daily. So how I start, let's just throw that up there. Sorry. Um, cool. So how I start, I mean, you guys can read this. This is actually kind of what I'm going off of right here. These are just my trading rules, how I look for entries. Um, you weren't supposed to see that, but it's all cool. Take a screenshot, do what you need to do. But I'm going to be going over all this with a few live examples, and actually live. So we're going to be starting out on GJ here. So if we look at the daily chart, right, we can tell that the trend is clearly up, right? So the only thing that I'm looking to do, when a market is trending up, when we're in a bullish market, the only thing I'm going to be looking for is buys. Right, so now that I know I'm only looking for buys in bullish markets, and I know I'm only looking for sells in bearish markets, this cuts out half the confusion, right? I mean, this is clear as day that we're in an uptrend. I would not want to be selling into this thing. You're really just fighting the current at that point, and that's not something I am interested in doing, right? So, cool. So now that we went to the daily, that's kind of what I start off doing, just identifying a bias, or identifying a trend. My first step is just going to be, like I said, finding a directional bias, by looking at these higher time frames, like the daily, and the 4 hours. Well, I kind of vary between them, but we can obviously tell, like I said, GJ is in an uptrend. So the only thing I am going to be looking to do is buy, right? So. All right, so let's go ahead and hop into kind of what I would do next. And I do want to say as well, this is not like I'm not going back in the past and finding perfect examples of whatever. I'm not throwing shade to anybody who does that. I mean, everybody in this educational trading space does that. It's great for back testing, of course. But I figured that I would try kind of just recording this live as it's happening, and going over kind of what I'm looking for, because I know not a lot of people do that, and I know when I'm watching videos, I would freaking love if they went over it in real time to see what exactly they're doing step by step, and that's what I'm hoping to do here today, right? So. Cool. So now that we know the direction is bullish, we know we're only going to be looking for buys. Perfect. So like I said, I would drop down from the daily to the 4 hour, right? And we could see that. So we can see that price is making. So it basically bottomed out right here, and then we're making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and just creating higher highs and higher lows for this bullish market. So if we go ahead and drop down to the 1 hour, this is what I was talking about previously when I said order block. Now this is actually some new. This is kind of a new style that I've been testing out of trading, and it's basically trading like the banks. I know we've all heard it, but what does it really mean? To be fair, I'm not an expert in this yet, but I did just want to show you kind of what I look for, what exactly an order block is, in a market, in a live market. Like I said, this is live, this is moving right now, and just kind of show you guys, right? So, an order block is basically in an uptrend. It is going to be the last bearish candle, the whole candle. Actually, I mean, you can do it body or you can do it wick, but it's basically going to be the last down candle before a huge spike in price or a huge move up, right? So the first step, we found directional bias. We know we're only looking for buys. And that second step is going to be finding a valid order block, right? I mean, we need to understand why we're marking this level, and we need to understand the significance behind it, okay? My number one rule when I am looking for an order block, and keep in mind that this would be an example. Here, give me 1 second, guys. This would be an example. This candle right here, this guy, would be an example of an order block, okay? So you can see this is the last down candle before this huge move up. Now you could be saying, hey, look, there's a few of these. I mean, if we, oh my God, I don't even know where the drawing tool is. Is this it? No. God, guys, I'm so sorry. So unprepared. All right, well, I'll just hover over it with my mouse. So you can say, okay, well, this would be an order block, right? Because it's the last bearish candle before the huge spike up. And yes, you would be correct. But because we're so far over here, I'm looking at the latest one, right? And you need to keep in mind, so this is just my rule, but for an order block to be valid, for one of these candle setups, if you will, to be valid, it needs to break structure, right? So we can see on GJ right here, in the past, I would say probably day or so, we've topped out, right? We topped out right here. We created a lower high, right? And we started trending down, right? Just to test this overall level that we broke out of. That's very common, but I want you to focus on this creating higher lows, right? So like I said, we have that top out, we have a lower high, excuse me, and then we have a lower high, and then what do we see? Price actually breaks out of this trend, creating lower highs, and creates a bottom out, creates a higher low, and then creates a higher high, right? So now we can see and we can kind of confirm that bulls are in the market, right? There are still buyers here, which is good for us because remember, the trend is up. So we are only going to be looking, we're only going to be looking for buys, and obviously we want buying pressure if we're looking for buys, right? So cool. So now that we've identified this order block, and guys, I do want to mention real quick, that was like the shortest, most brief, probably the worst explanation of what an order block is. I'm gonna go ahead and make a couple of videos about this in the next few videos, just kind of going in depth about exactly to a T what an order block is, what it signifies, how we can use it. But for now, I just wanted to give you kind of the general basis of what it is, and why I highlight levels like this, right? So now that we know this is an order block, right? We know the significance behind it. What I did is I actually just drew a rectangle to create a zone or a space of this whole candle, right? So I just drew a rectangle over the whole candle, right? So now we have this zone. What I usually do is I go ahead and mark it. You don't have to mark it. I mean, it's like literally it doesn't matter if you do, doesn't matter if you don't. I usually just throw 1 hour POI, stands for point of interest, up on the chart, so I don't get confused saying oh, what time frame was that, what candle was that. I just try to make it as clear as day, so I just threw in 1 hour POI, right? So now this is our point of interest based off of this order block. So now all we're waiting for, and again, this is kind of what I wanted to do because not a lot of people do it, is just, in a live market, right? So this is live. I didn't rewind it, like I said before. So all we're waiting for is for price to come back into this level, right? And after it comes into this level, or it comes into this order block, we're going to drop down into the lower time frames, like the 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, and basically look for breaks of structure, right, to refine that entry. So technically what you could do is you can enter, like, as soon as price hits the top of this box, you can go ahead and enter your trade. You could go ahead and throw, stop loss on at the bottom of this box, and then just target these most recent highs, right? That is what you could do. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, especially if you don't have a lot of time to, look at the charts, each and every day, perfecting entries. This is definitely a great way to start. Right, so that is, I mean, it's fairly simple. It's super quick doing it like this as well, just because, like I said, all we had to do was find a valid order block. We understand why we're hopping in it, because it broke this structure right here, right? So we just found that order block. And what you could do, this is a strategy in itself. Here, let me actually, guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know why this, yeah, here, let me turn that off. It's annoying. All right, cool. So what you could do is you could enter as soon as it comes into this zone, and then see, if it goes up and hits these highs and grabs this liquidity up here that is sitting above this level, which we will save liquidity for another video as well, right? So you could do that. Now what I do, and we can't actually drop down to the 15-minute on this just because it is live. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and look at another chart so I can show an in-depth example of what I mean, right? So let's actually go. So we're gonna do the same. We're gonna run through the same exact thing. I don't want you guys getting confused. This is actually a trade I took. I believe it was last night. Yeah. It was actually a really good trade. I'm happy about the results, and so I figured I would go ahead and share it with you guys, and it'll make sense what I mean by dropping down to lower time frames. And I mean, it's pretty simple. I like to keep things simplistic. I think that's the most important thing when you're trading, is just having a refined strategy and keeping shit simple. Man, keep it simple. You don't need all these indicators and all this extra shit. Keep this shit simple, right? Okay. So what's the first step? What did we say the first step was? First step is going to be finding a directional bias. Okay, perfect. Right. And how do we do this? We go up to the 4 hour, we go up to the daily, and we basically identify what the trend is looking like, right? So we can identify right here It's the same thing as GJ. We are in, and I'm not going to draw a perfect trend line. I mean, I'm not even trying to draw a trend line. I'm just trying to show you guys that the market is up, right? So when the market is up, when the market is bullish, what is the only thing we're going to look to do? What's it going to be? Ah, I think I heard it. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's gonna be. We're only looking for buys. So we're only looking for buys. Cool. So we found a directional bias. Step two. Here, let me just kind of space that out. Step two is we're going to find a valid order block, right? OB just stands for order block. We're going to find a valid order block. Now, the reason I stress, and actually I should put this in all caps because this is the most important thing when it comes to actually using these order blocks for entry, is finding a valid order block, right? A valid one. We don't, like I said, there are plenty of these order blocks, plenty of candles that go down before a great move up. Well, we need to find a valid one relative to what price is currently doing, right? Okay, so now that we have that here, let me actually just go ahead. I don't know if I could shrink that. Let's just go down to the 4 hour. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure it was still here. All right, perfect. So after we identified a directional bias, we're going to go ahead, we're going to look for a valid order block, right? Okay, cool. So we can see price is just fucking ripping from the bottom of this chart right now, right? We can see it's creating higher highs, it's creating higher lows. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, right? Cool. So we know we're in an uptrend. Obviously, we just went over that. But so now we're looking for our order block, right? So you have to keep in mind none of this. Here, let me actually. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I really do apologize. Let's say prices like that, right? So prices like that. Because obviously this is kind of what I was looking for. This is kind of what I was looking at last night. It didn't have all that extra stuff, so I don't want to confuse you with all that yet. But we will get into it. So this is all I saw, right? So now I'm looking for the last down candle before a huge move up, right? This is a valid one right here, simply because, like I said, it is the last down candle, right? The last down candle before that huge move up. Now you can say, why didn't you use this one? Great question. So what I want to see, the candle after these order blocks are created is volume. I want to see a lot of volume, like a lot. Like I want to see a lot of volume. That shows me. That price strength is there. Institutions might be hopping in right there. It's just that is what that's what I'm looking for. I really want to see volume, the candles after this order block is created, right? So now that we found the valid order block, let me actually just go ahead and say as well, the reason this is valid in confluence with everything else is because of the fact that this, what did it do? What was our rule? Oh, actually, it's not right here. So here, I'm going to put find a valid OB. Has to break structure. Has to break structure to become a valid level. Okay? So, what level did it break? It broke this level right here. Okay? This was the highest high until price retraced and then broke through this level to create another higher high. Right? So now we have absolutely no, second guesses of which one is, our correct order block for now. This is the one I went with, and yeah. So sorry about this, guys. I know this is actually my first time recording a YouTube video, so if I kind of like stutter or am just like blanking out, it's just because I don't have this shit planned that well, and I'm really just trying to do it the best I can. So I appreciate you guys being patient with me, and yeah. So all right, cool. So we found. Sorry about that, guys. So we found my girl's calling. She just got off of work, but I will call her back in a minute. All right, cool. Sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. So we found our valid order block, right? We found our valid order block. We understood why we were marking this level, and we understand the significance behind it. Just remember that all points of interest, right? All points of interest or OBs, it's the same shit. Order block, point of interest, same thing. They must break structure in order to be valid. Okay? Cool. So, what we're waiting for after this, or we should say step 3, is we need to wait until price enters enters our OB, right? Okay. So let's see what price does. Here, I've actually never used this. This might be a fucking nightmare. Okay. Okay, cool. So price entered our OB. Awesome. That is amazing news. Now we are looking to enter. Okay? Remember what I was saying? If you guys don't have, that much time in the day, I would say, your entries are going to be, your stop losses are going to be a little more loose. They're going to be a little more loose, but you're also not, kind of staying at your computer. Remember what I said? This is a completely viable option, is basically just entering right here, putting your stops at the bottom of this, and then, wherever you want to set your take profit. I'll get into, take profit in a later video, but I just wanted to, have you guys keep in mind that you can definitely enter right here, but for my strategy, I like to go down to a lower time frame and kind of see what's happening, right? So cool. So price entered our OB, right? So after this, we are gonna drop down to lower time frames. Time frames, and wait for a break of structure. And sorry, I'm typing this out like live. It's just I do want to have it right here so you guys can kind of just go back and look at it, so it's on screen, so you know kind of exactly where we are. Yeah. So with that being said, let's actually go ahead and hop down to the 15-minute. And I do want to mention, real quick, that this, what I said, 5-minute, dropping down to the 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, it's all preference. Seriously, guys, you can do this strategy really on any time frame. So I don't want you to think that you absolutely have to do it on the 5-minute, have to do it on the 15, 30-minute, whatever. No, you don't. It's all preference, whatever you feel most comfortable with. Because at the end of the day, it's your trades that you're taking. So whatever, like I said, whatever you feel most comfortable with is definitely what I would suggest, right? But I know for this trade, we dropped down to the 15 minutes. So this is actually, let me zoom this shit out. All right, cool. So, cool. So we can see on the 15-minute, okay, I can't back this up. It's all good. Okay, so we see that price came into our zone, right? Came into our zone and then continued ripping down, right? But we then created, within this order block, we created our last bearish candle before a huge move up, right? So let's say I'm looking at this live right now. What I want to see and what I was looking for last night was for price, and this is why I drew these arrows. I didn't redraw this on. I just kind of had it on from when I took my trade. But what I was looking for was a break. I wanted to see a break of this structure, these highs created. I wanted to see a break of this, and then I wanted to see it come back, retest my new 15-minute order block, and I wanted to see price head higher, right? So let's just actually go ahead and play this out, and I'll explain it a little bit better here in a second. Okay, so price is just doing what it wants to do. La-da-da-dee-da. Oh, so we're getting close. Oh, what are we doing? Are we going to break? Oh, nice. So we broke out of this level. This is absolutely perfect. So now we can see, let me pause this. So now we can see, what did I say before? Where's that fucking thing? All right. So what did I say before? I said that on the lower time frames, I said we want to wait until price enters our OB. It entered our order block, OB order block. After this, we're going to drop down to a lower time frame, right? And we're going to wait. We're going to wait for a break of structure. Okay? So now that we've seen this break of structure, this is when this order block becomes valid. Okay? So I should have explained that just a second ago, but let me explain it a little bit better here. Okay? So before this broke, I wouldn't have this marked up yet. Okay, before this breaks, because there's no reason, like price could literally just, kind of top out over here, whatever, and then it could just continue down, right? But now that I've seen, or now that I am seeing a break of this level right here, we know that buyers are in we know that buyers are in the market, right? And remember, an OB to be valid, an OB has to break structure, which it just did. Right. Cool. So it just did, and you'll see in a second. This, I didn't even have to use this level. I actually implemented the Fibonacci tool. So I know this sounds like, you know, I don't even know what, just gibberish. But I'll explain it here in a second, kind of exactly what I did. But let's go ahead and mark that 15 OB. This is exactly what I did, real time. I'm showing you guys exactly what I did, real time. Because I've watched YouTube videos. I've gotten frustrated because it's confusing when it's not a live market. So I want to go step by step, exactly what I did. Okay. So we marked this 15-minute OB. So now all we're waiting for is price to come back into this level, right? So let's see what price does. Okay, and I do want to say here, let me pause it real quick. So this is my, we're waiting for price to come down into this OB, but what I do, this is part of my strategy, is actually, after we see a break of structure, I pull out, I pull out my Fibonacci, pull out Fib retracement tool, and this is just personally what I do. So you guys can do it, in whatever way you want, but this is just personally what I do. So I pull out my Fib retracement and draw. Oh Jesus! And draw it from the bottom of the expansion, which I'm using a bunch of mumbo jumbo, I know. Expansion is basically just this. Remember I said after an order block I want to see it rip up. This is the whole expansion right here. That's what I mean when I say expansion. Like it expanded, the market expanded upwards, right? So after that, I pull out my Fib retracement and draw it from the bottom of the expansion to the top. Okay. Awesome. All right. Cool. So this is personally what I did, guys. Again, this is personally what I did. You feel more than welcome. And this, I actually have an example right after this one, and I'll try to make it quick. I know this video is getting long, but I wanted to pack it full of value, especially for my first video for you guys. So if you made it to this far in the video, I beyond appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I'll try to wrap it up here in a little bit. But with that being said, what I'm looking for at this current time is for price to either drop down into this level, or, and this is when shit kind of gets cool, and this is what I mean, like implement your own style into this. This is personally what I did. So I drew a Fibonacci from the bottom, right? I drew it from the bottom to the top of this expansion, right? Cool. So I drew it from the top, from the bottom to the top. Cool. So now, what I was waiting for, this is, and again, this is just my style, waiting for price to hit my 50% retracement or 61.8% retracement. And you'll see it actually, oh geez, it actually ended up working out perfectly. Alright. So yeah, so we're just waiting for price to come back to come into this Fibonacci level. Okay, and this is just a simple tool. I believe most platforms have it. If you use TradingView, it's in indicators. You just type in fib, or just come on the side right here, and then click fib retracement. Right? Oh shit. Um, cool. So with that being said, so we're just waiting on price to hit our 50 or our 68. I mean, they're so close. Um, it really just kind of depends. Okay, cool. So price just hit our 50. That is exactly where I entered. I entered right there. And before price does its thing, this 50 level, let me go ahead and draw just kind of a line, make it a little more visible. This 50, this line right here, this is where I was waiting for price to come to, right? And what this Fibonacci basically is, it's just percentiles in a move, right? So it basically means, so if it came down to this 23.6, it basically just means that it retraced 23.6%. 38.2 right here is 38.2%. This is 50%, 61.8%, 78%, and then obviously 100%, right? So that's basically all it is. I mean, it looks all complicated and shit. Like, I completely agree, but it's a pretty fairly simple tool to use, right? So let's say, okay, so let's say what if price, instead of rejecting, so this was my entry, and I got in pretty good so far. You'll see kind of what happened. But let's say price didn't respect this level. Let's say I had my stop loss well, I mean, I had it down here. So actually, I'll just keep it right there, whatever. So let's say price didn't respect this 50, right? And it didn't respect this 61.8. My next buy opportunity would then be this order block, right? So what I like about this is I'm always looking for different entries, right? And I'm not risking a whole bunch on either one of these trades. Like, I'm literally risking like 0.5% of my entire account on every one of these trades. So like literally, like, worst comes to worst, right? Worst comes to worst, price comes down to this 0.5, and then it comes past the 618, and then it stops me out. And I personally always put my stop loss below the 61.8. So if it does want to come down to that level, it can kind of wick out a little bit and then continue higher. That's just personally what I do. But let's say price, and keep in mind, we're only risking 0.5%, right, of a whole account. Like, that's not a lot. So let's say it didn't respect this 0.5, didn't respect this 618, and just smashed our stop loss. We're like, oh, damn, that sucks, dude. But it's all good because we only lost 0.5%. So, like, on to the next trade. And then where is the next level of significant value to buy? What level is it? It's going to be this order block, right? So if price would have smashed down, I would have taken another entry, probably looking something like, sheesh. Probably looking something like, here, I'm going to delete this fib. I hope that's okay, guys. Just to kind of make it cleaner. But my entry, if it didn't respect any of those levels, my entry would have been at the top of this. Jesus, dude, at the top of this order block, it would have been my entry. I would have had my stop I probably honestly personally would have had it just below this level, and then I would have had my take profit in the same level. And I'll get into finding perfect take profits and refining your stop loss and all that good shit in a later video. But I just wanted to show a clear example, kind of what I would do if it broke those Fibonacci levels. I would look to enter right here, and then worst comes to worst, we lose 2 trades in a row, we only lost 1% of our account, right? So it's not a big deal. We live to trade another day. So cool. Alrighty, guys. Well, I honestly think that is going to wrap it up. Oh my god, excuse me, man. Just had some damn Chick-fil-A, and I think it's everywhere in there. But anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping by. I really do. Welcome to the channel. I'm really hoping to be putting out some videos with this quality content, at least a couple times a week. And again, this is mainly just for my trading journey, so I can go back and look at, hey, what I did right, why did I enter this, why did I do this. So yeah. So again, guys, I appreciate you for stopping by. Please hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. Share it with a friend, share it with some of your trading buddies, and I hope to see you guys on the next video. I appreciate y'all. Bye bye.